I hate diesels. I go back and forth with this. I'm now ready to buy another gas truck. I'm just being honest with you guys. But here's why I hate diesels. I was having a great morning. I woke up early, got my wife's coffee ready, got some workouts in, and some of you guys would ask me to do some towing videos, so I figured, you know what? Let me go ahead and get my black trailer out. Let me go ahead and get it ready to go. I got the tires all aired up, checked the lugs. All's good. I pull it, put the car in there, drive down to the fuel station to top off my diesel, and I get this notification. So, well, let me just show it to you real quickly. So here's what we got. My truck now has 19,311 miles. I started this year with like 17,000, so we're halfway through. I've only put 2,000 miles on it. Now, let's go ahead and put it in a session mode, see if it'll pop up. Alright, so there it is. DEF empty, refill now. Now you guys see right here, I have 419 miles until 65 mile an hour limit basically. So I get it. I know what some of you guys are going to say. Why not go ahead and refill the tank? That way you don't have to worry about that monitor. Well, as you guys saw, I've only driven this truck 2,000 miles this year. So that DEF in the tank is old. So I figured, you know, I'd rather not fill it up. I want to run it as dry as possible and then top it off with some new DEF. But the reality is, this is the type of control I do not like. I hate the fact that in order for me to drive this truck, I have to add some fluid in there that has nothing to do with this truck. For example, every automobile today has coolant. Coolant has a necessary benefit. If you don't use coolant, what's going to happen? Your engine's going to overheat. Same thing goes for your engine oil. Every automobile has engine oil. Why? It's going to keep your engine lubricated. I believe the brake fluid is right there. Every car needs that, just like windshield washer fluid. When it comes down to diesel fuel, gasoline, every car needs that. You know why? It will not operate without those things. Diesels do not need this. They don't. This is just something that got regulated into diesels. And I'm not going to say why, but maybe I'll say it later in the video. But the fact of the matter is, trucks do not need this system. Or maybe it could just be optional. I mean, that might be better. Do you guys remember that cartoon? It was called Dragon Ball Z. I loved watching it as a kid. Now, if you haven't heard of it, the main character was Goku. And he died in combat. And he was allowed to come back to Earth for one day to participate in martial arts. Now, hear me out. Imagine anyone that died before 2000. They were avid diesel owners. Imagine them coming back to Earth to drive a new diesel truck. Could you imagine explaining to them just how bad diesel engines have gotten? And everyone will agree. Anyone who died before will say that this is crazy, madness. For example, as we just talked about DEF, if you don't know what DEF is, it's diesel exhaust fluid, right? We know that. But what is it? It's pee-pee and like distilled water, I believe, right? That's what it is. And if you've ever seen that stuff on the ground, you would know right out of the gate it's the most disgusting stuff. Now, you just saw, if you can't get to DEF, it will put your truck basically in a limp mode. Imagine explaining this to someone who owned diesels in the 90s and they came back to life, and this is what you have to tell them. What do you think would be going through their mind? Because at the end of the day, right, it is helping the environment, right? That's what it's supposed to do. Now, on top of that, you have a DPF pipe on your truck. Now, the diesel particulate filter is supposed to filter out any diesel soot, anything that goes through that system that could be harmful to the environment, right? The only problem is you can't idle your truck anymore, because back in the day, guys could idle their truck for hours and hours and hours and not even burn a gallon of fuel. Well, you can't do that today because you idle your diesel truck. That diesel particulate filter will get filled of soot. And in order to clean the filter, it has to go through a regeneration process, which heats up that filter to like over 1,000 degrees. But in order for it to clean it, it uses the diesel that you purchase for your truck to drive to clean it, which means you can lose 3 to 4 miles to the gallon. And sometimes the regeneration process can stay on for 45 minutes. And it's not a good idea not to allow that system to finish that process. And then you have DLC, you have SCR. Now EGR has been out for a while. And in the past, you were able to delete it, right? You can just delete EGR. Well, they've locked up these ECMs so much that you can't really do that anymore, right? If you were to delete a EGR, it will throw a code, which means your truck will go into lit mode, and it's documented. So again, if someone were to come back to life from the 90s who never saw this crap, imagine what they would think today. I wouldn't own a diesel truck. And that's why I kind of go back and forth with, do I keep a diesel? Do I go to a gas engine? And what's so frustrating is we all know about the, government vehicles that have diesel engines. They don't have emissions control. Cruise ships, they don't have emissions control. Why? Because these systems are unreliable. And the biggest part about it is they cost so much to replace that it almost does prove that it's control. This is all about control. They want to control who buys diesel engines. They want to reduce the amount of people who buy diesel engines. Why? Because look at the type of people who buy diesel trucks. They're typically burly men who love America and who probably go against the agenda that this country is trying to go for. Just saying. But regardless of that, this stuff does not make sense. Do you guys remember when I did that video about plugging in your truck at 30 degrees? And some of you guys thought I was crazy. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about, blah, 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 blah. Now, it's 88 degrees outside right now, okay? My engine oil is at 91 degrees. So I want you guys to watch my oil pressure here when I get on a straight road. Hold on one second. 30% throttle. You see that? You see how high the oil pressure is? I'm just saying, you don't have to take my advice, but even when the engine is warm, it's 88 degrees outside. The oil pressure is high, and with those oil coolers failing, I'm just saying, just something to consider. You can take the horse to the water, but I'm just letting you know, even when it's at pretty high temp from start. And I drove the truck yesterday. Oil pressure is still high. Now it does taper off a lot quicker once it gets about 120 or so. But I'm just saying, if you're someone who's going to keep your truck for a long extended period of time in the winter time, I would 100% recommend you do what I did in that video. Maybe I'll link it at the end of this one for you. So you guys see right here, DEF is $4.29 a gallon, which is crazy expensive. Although I just went inside to see how much a jug was. One 2.5 gallon jug is $20. Get out of here. You can go fly a kite. Now I normally get my diesel from Costco. I'm not going to get some from here because Costco's 40 cents cheaper, and they do advertise their fuel as top tier for the gasoline and the diesel. So I can get a little bit better fuel price and I get better diesel, because I have noticed whenever I've done my fuel filters in the past, I would always see a little bit of water come out. When I get my stuff from Costco, no water comes out when you do the water separator for that system. So let's go ahead and fill up the truck so we can see how much it's going to cost. I haven't done this in so long, I completely forgot what I was supposed to do. Whenever you pull up the pump from here, you're supposed to dump it in the trash. That way you don't get this crap all over your truck. Absolutely frustrating. That's why I hate this stuff. Absolutely hate it. Look how nasty it is too. That's disgusting. So there's where it stopped at, $27.08 for 6.3 gallons. So it wasn't completely empty, so there was still a little bit left in there, as I said. And it's okay though, I mean, most of it's brand new. And whatever you do, don't top the system off. You will learn the hard way what happens when you do that. You can damage something inside the tank. I think Josh had mentioned it in a video he did a long time ago. But yeah, don't top it off. Once this stops, you're done. So hold that for about 5 seconds. It normally takes it a while to reset. But actually no, it did it quickly this time. So it's showing the DF tank is full, and it's showing completely full. Normally it takes it like a few miles to show like that. But that's pretty much it, guys. I think that in the grand scheme of things, this is all about control. I just don't understand why we have to go to this extreme. If people want to use this stuff to help the environment, let them. Now I will say, you know, semi trucks, commercial vehicles, I think that maybe, yeah, they should probably use this stuff personally. But there should be a write-off. There should be something that benefits them in the process of this. There should be lifetime warranties for this crap. Shouldn't be for a short period of time of 8 years or whatever it is for the emissions control stuff. It should be longer. It should be 500,000 miles, 15 years. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's just facts. You know, it's just the facts. I think that they need to do right by the consumer, especially people who work and haul our goods and services, right? Hope you guys liked the video. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. See you guys soon.